protesters that are currently throwing trash and water bottles at the cops over there.
This is so ridiculous. This is why I could never vote for Democrats. I mean, hating the cops is ridiculous. Are there bad cops? There's bad everybody in every profession. Okay? But the Chicago police have been so disrespected over their entire history. They've been disrespected when it comes to their contract and their, with the politicians, and their pensions and then these protesters that attack them, but no, you hear that, no, it's the police that are so bad. And yet there's bad police in every city, and that happens. There's bad nurses. Look at how bad the politicians are. But what I really hate about this is that, it's the stupidity of these protesters throwing frozen water bottles at police. Now, this bothers me because I have family that are Chicago police, okay? I'm a nurse because of a Chicago police officer. I am. I'm a nurse because I went to nursing school late. I went to the City College in Chicago. I was newly divorced and living with family, and because of a police officer who helped pay for me to go to school, I was able to have a career. And he was always humble enough to say, I only helped you because, everybody should have to pay taxes. That's what he would always say. But just out of the kindness of his heart, okay? Now, police officers are not wealthy. They're not known for being wealthy. Not at all. Do they make a decent living? Yeah, but look at what they put up with. There's absolutely no reason. This is where I wish sometimes that there wasn't. I'm not one of these people that believes in defunding the police. No way. That's part of the problem. But really, these protesters, go throw your water bottles at Pritzker. Don't throw them at the police. But all those people are protected, right? So then you go after the middleman. You go after the police. And then the police, I'm telling you, most of them don't want to be having to do all this bullshit. They don't want to have to deal with any of this DNC bullshit. The city of Chicago, for the most part, is fed the hell up with the Democrats. They've finally seen the light, most of them. They can't stand Kamala Harris. Believe me, they can't. There's no candidate the Democrats could put in that most of Chicago, especially the black community, will support. Because they've seen what the Democrats have done with this illegal immigrant bullshit. That's why. And now they are openly saying, no, we are voting red no matter what. So, while all of these ridiculous idiots that get paid by Kamala Harris on TikTok get paid to rip on Trump and Trump supporters, yeah, keep going at it. But what your party shows is it's a party that's not unified in any way. It's a party of violence. It's a party of unlawfulness. It's a party that is so twisted and misguided that it throws water bottles at police. But then that party, what do? They find some reason. Oh, the police officer, look what they did to this person. But then there's a whole story they never tell you before that. There was that story recently, and I think they wanted it to go viral with the woman, and I think she had a mental health issue, and she was shot by a Chicago police. That really kind of shocked me, and I didn't look into that story because let me tell you what I know about the Chicago police. Besides, yes, I have family that are Chicago police. Is that the Chicago police in every, I think it's district or maybe area, they have a police officer that is a mental health trained police officer. I saw them in action years ago when I worked as a community nurse. When I was a community nurse, I was on the south side of Chicago, the south suburbs, and part of it was the Chicago area. And so I would go to people's homes. They lived in the community and they had mental health problems, schizoaffective disorder. So we would help them so they could maintain in the community, bring them their meds, see how they're doing, that kind of thing. So we had this one patient who had just, he was not doing well. He was hearing voices. He was paranoid. He needed to go into the hospital, and he wouldn't even really let us in the door. And we knew we needed to get him to the hospital. So we weren't getting anywhere. And so I was with somebody, and she was this black woman, and she was a social worker. And she said, well, the Chicago police have a special division for mental health that they send out. She's like, so I'm going to call and have them come out. And I didn't even know about it. I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah, it's a law now. So they, in every area or district, they have to have one or two police officers that are trained in how to de-escalate and deal with mental health crises. And this guy came out. He was wonderful. I mean, he was better than many people I see that work in psych. Was so patient and kind, and not pushy or anything. And so we were standing outside the guy's door, and so we're hearing this whole interaction there, and there was nothing, it wasn't like a takedown. It was none of that. He was just telling him, let's just go have you checked out at the hospital, but he wasn't pushing him or anything. Eventually he just was talking back and forth with him, and eventually the guy came out on his own with the officer, not in cuffs, none of that. Guy was eating peanut butter out of a peanut butter jar, and the cop let him take it into the cop car, and then he got in the cop car and they took him to Garfield Hospital. So he was absolutely amazing. I mean, it's more than trained. I mean, had a special, I would say, talent for it. So when you hear this stuff that, the police just want to hurt mental health patients, no, they don't know many times that there's a mental health crisis, okay? They're sometimes caught in that trap of it. So, nobody ever looks at it from their angle. I understand. I know there are police that are bad police in every city. Yes, you're going to have you have a few bad apples, but you can't, disregard the whole bunch because of a few bad apples. The fact is, I was shocked to know that the Chicago police, and I thought she said it was all of Illinois, but I could be wrong, but definitely Cook County, that she said, no, I don't know who it was that fought for it, but they made it a law to where there had to be a police officer in every district or area that was trained for mental health crises. So that they didn't, it didn't turn into something where there was a misunderstanding. Please try to understand, not just from one side that the media is going to tell you, because the media and the left will always go out of their way to make the police look like monsters. And I know they're not monsters. I know on a personal level they're not. I'm not saying all of them are angels, but they have a hard job. Many people have hard jobs. It would be helpful if people could understand that there are two sides to every story.